Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. We're going to look at sort of a reflection of something we've talked about before, which is Gaelic-speaking schools all across Scotland. And we said recently about the ones in Glasgow, an authority that is rather cash-strapped, that's having to look to create this artificial requirement for a clean air area, ULEZ zone, simply to raise funds, nothing to do with the air, but they need money. But they were still prepared to waste millions upon millions on schools for Gaelic speakers. And yet nobody knows why. It's not the national language. It's not even, it's more a regional tongue rather than anything else. But it's not something that a lot of people speak. There's no real requirement for it. You've got all that money wasted on road signs and things for what? A tiny proportion of the population? Is it necessary? Probably not. But now Edinburgh is joining the bandwagon, and they are spending £6 million out of their local authority budget at a time when they can't even repair roads or send people out in social care or anything like this. Schools crumbling, falling apart, but they're spending £6 million teaching half a dozen kids to speak Gaelic. And nobody knows why. Let's have a look and see why even more money is being wasted on something entirely pointless. Here goes. Now, I've said this before, that I think there is something a bit insidious about it, something a bit sneaky about it underneath, because I think it's going to end up like Wales. If you don't speak Gaelic, you won't get a job in public service, you won't get a job in politics or anything like that. You've got to speak the language. And it'll be a very tiny elite that speak it. And therefore they're basically creating, again, that kind of aristocracy, them and us, the superiors and the inferiors, rather than allowing the voice of the people, which for the 99.99% is English or some variation of it. I refer, of course, to like Doric speak and things like that, which my wife occasionally drops into. It's all her father's influence, of course. She mustn't take any credit for it. But having the ear and knowing some of the terms, and I just find it fascinating. But it certainly isn't Gaelic. And of course, when you've got a place like Edinburgh, which is constantly on the lookout for more ways of making money because they've overspent in every bloody area, you have to wonder why they think £6 million for an elitist language course designed only for future political, uses is a good spend. I think it's probably not. Anyway, cash-strapped Edinburgh Council splash out over £6 million on Gaelic schools despite a lack of speakers. And there's only 2 schools. The Labour-run local authority has spent more than £6 million on funding Gaelic schools, with only 2 of them based in the capital, and only 1% of locals speaking it. And I bet they don't speak it exclusively. I bet they can get through their day without speaking Gaelic. What do you think? But £6 million? Do you know how many people in Edinburgh probably need help in some way or form? Do you know how much maintenance needs to be done to various buildings? Do you know how bad the roads are? But £6 million just so some elitist toff school can go, oh yes, we'll teach them Gaelic because in years to come they're going to be the leaders of your country. All this tiny coterie of inbred incestuous relationships, much like the SNP really, isn't it? A lot of incest there. Everyone's shagging everyone else's wife or child. Cash-strapped City of Edinburgh Council has splashed out more than £6 million on Gaelic schools in just 4 years, despite a lack of native speakers in the capital. It's not even, that's the thing, that's not even the region, is it? Anyway, we previously told how Glasgow had racked up a massive £30 million bill on its own portfolio of Gaelic educational establishments, and we'd done that story. That was a couple of weeks ago now, 3-4 weeks ago I think it was. Now the figures for Edinburgh have also been released, with the cost substantially less, but still a lot of money when it comes to funding. The Labour-led local authority is one of many councils struggling with a massive budget black hole in the next financial year, and yet can find £6 million for schools to speak a minority language. Unbelievable. The Scottish Daily Express can reveal that a total of £6,007,393 has been spent by the council on Gaelic schools since 2020, with only 2 of them in the entire capital, and I'm not even going to practice that one. I don't know if it's Boone, Zgol, Tovna Pers, I think. I'm having a guess at that. Do correct me if I'm wrong. Bonshol Tovna Pers, I'm thinking. I may be wrong. I'm going with the Gaelic I know, which is Irish. Anyway, this is the primary school with James Gillespie High School. James Gillespie's high school. Bloody hell, I'm having trouble with that, and it's in bloody English. Reading is hard. Anyway, pupils from Mid Lothian, East Lothian and West Lothian are transported by the council to the schools in Edinburgh. So you've got the extra cost of transporting these kids in, because nobody where these schools are wants to go there to learn. It's pointless, isn't it? I mean, seriously, go out into a world, a modern world. What do you need? You need maths, the sciences, STEMs, isn't it? Science, technology, engineering and mathematics. And an ability to speak at least 2 languages. One of them has got to be English. Now, if one of them has got to be English, what's the other one going to be? How useful is Gaelic? I would suggest French, German, Spanish, Chinese, Japanese. Probably in that order. Forget Chinese and Japanese. Very, very hard. You know? Konnichiwa. And Nihonma, but they're very hard. So what are you left with? European languages. French, German and Spanish. By far and away the easiest. Spanish. Also the most useful. More Spanish speakers than there are German or French around the world. Learn Spanish. Anyway, this means that £6 million is being spent on just a small number of pupils learning the language, which is also being promoted by the Scottish Government. And we previously told how the SNP executive is spending a massive £117 million on these Gaelic projects, despite ministers looking down the barrel of a 1.7 or a 1.5 billion, read 2 billion, read 2.5 billion budget black hole. 117 million. I've got an idea. I know how to save a load of money instantly. It's not hard, is it? Why are you spending that much money? And all this shit, right? Look at that picture, right? Inverness. It's Inverness. It doesn't matter what language you speak, it's still Inverness. Why do you need to push this? They're pushing it because it is nationalism. It is, in this case, racist nationalism. Because even the vast proportion of Scots know what these places are. The only ones who don't are new Scots. And none of them will be speaking Gaelic. I mean, come on. And that's extra cost. Why? It's elitism, it's a separation, it's a them and us, and it is the rise of a new hierarchy. If you don't speak Gaelic, you're not going to succeed in our new independent Scotland. And it's just a joke, isn't it? And the cost of it. Oh dear. Anyway, the Corporate Gaelic Development Office is also employed by the council, with the cost of this role to the public purse fluctuating in recent years from a high of 57.7 million in 2022 to 57.7 thousand in 2022, 44,000 this year, but a total of getting on for £250,000 spent since 2020. Around 428,000, nearly £500,000, has gone to Bunsgoil Tovna Paos to upgrade acoustics and refurbishment. Upgrading the acoustic. Why? So the school sounds better. What a load of old shit. Meanwhile, try getting an appointment at the hospital. You know? In fact, schools are so bad, why not spend that 117 million trying to teach Gaelic into maintaining the schools, hiring a few teachers, teaching maths and science, which are now at third world levels according to PISA. Oh yeah, maths and science, the important shit, third world levels. Meanwhile, Gaelic, hey, we're roaring ahead there. We're world leaders in that. Name one other country, one that speaks that as a national language. Yeah, I can't either. It's a joke, isn't it? The City of Edinburgh already hiked up council tax by 5% this year to raise more cash for services, and had plotted to raise it by up to 20% next year before the council tax freeze. 20%? For what? For shit like this? And you're still voting for these people. My God. In the summer, cuts totaling 33 million were made to the local authorities' health and social care budget. So 33 million taken off health and social care, but 117 million in total being spent on learning Gaelic. That's stunning. Well done. Well done. I hope it's worth it. I really do. As Granny's dying, and your kids have got leukemia and they're in a care home, but you know they're not coming out. Well, they are, but in the heaviest of all coffins, the little ones. Meanwhile, they're wanking away 117 million on a language nobody really speaks that isn't even the national language. Why is there not people on the streets demanding a revolution? There needs to be heads on spikes. They really does. Anyway, I'm going to stop there because I can see myself getting angry and I'm not going to. I'm going to stop there and come up. You need to be angry. Isn't it just great that Scotland's got so much money to piss away learning Gaelic, 117 million. You got 35 million for the foreign embassies, 8 million a month for spin doctors. Money like that all over the place. Try getting a hospital appointment. You know, try sending your kids to a school that isn't falling down. Try driving down a road that isn't filled with potholes. Oh no, can't be dealing with the important shit. But anything to do with independence and division and hate and creating an elitist army, I suppose, of the future leaders, this future aristocracy of Scotland where they all speak Gaelic so that they can control you. Yeah, millions upon millions wanked away. What on? On somebody's wet dream of independence. But what are they looking over? Scotland's falling into a wasteland, lawless. No healthcare service, no education. One of the worst educations in the world. The NHS is dead, and now they're destroying the justice system and the police system. They are criminals. They are these are crimes against humanity, and they need to be held to account. Scotland, you need to rise up, have a revolution, and get these people on a panel, and have your Nurembergs, have your Nuremberg trials for these people, and then take them out and find a lamppost and let them rot there as a warning to the others. I'll stop. Thank you very much for watching. Do not do that. Do not put them up there. Not yet. Not yet. Wait until you're legitimate and then do it. Anyway, enough. Till next time, stay safe, stay well, and I will speak to you later. Bye.